Alright, so in today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to beat Fight the Storm, aka Category 1, by yourself solo, in power level 140 Ventures without the need of any weapons, and we're also going to be maxing out the difficulty too for this one, which means we will be fighting power level 262 enemies, which is actually higher than power level 160s, believe it or not. But with that being said, let's get straight on into the loadout I will be using. And this is the loadout I will be using. This is a pretty standard base Kyle loadout. We of course got Kyle in the lead for those tanky walls. We're also running Blackbeard's Stash as our team perk, and that's mainly because Ventures is very RNG. No two playthroughs of Ventures are the same, no matter what, even on the same season. You can't just be guaranteed the same weapons or the weapons you want. You could go entire run of Ventures without getting what you actually do want. So that is why we're running Blackbeard's Stash, is to give us, of course, super strong weapons consistently. We're also running Power Base Nox and Mega Base Kyle, pretty standard for, a base loadout. And we of course have going Coconuts. Of course, this is going to help activate Blackbeard's Stash, and with this perk in our loadout, we will of course get 16% extra damage whenever we consume a coconut. And of course coconuts will, be our survivability, because they do help out quite a lot. We also have Blackbeard himself. He will of course buff the cannonballs that we will be getting from his loot chest. And we also have Privateer Hype for that extra club damage, and that will be of course buffing the peg legs and again activating Blackbeard's Stash. And that's pretty much the loadout. But with all of that being said, let's get straight on into the actual build. Alright, so this is the Atlas. So when we place the Atlas down, pay attention to the top middle of your screen, because it will tell you if the storm is switching and what elements there are. If you do not get a notification telling you what element it is, it's just a physical wave, so there's no element at all whatsoever. This mission has a mini-boss, so we will have to of course watch out for a mini-boss, but we won't have any modifiers for this one. Now, we're going to of course place our base down just right on the roof, and we're going to build just 4 ramps like that, with 5 ceiling, or I guess 4s for the ceilings. And believe it or not, this is all you need to cover an Atlas, believe it or not. And basically, even though it looks like I can actually walk through here, the husks can't, because if I try it on the other side, I can't really get into here at all. The only reason why I'm able to of course walk over the ramps and into Atlas is mainly just because of the sidewalk, with the weird elevation. A fix to this problem, we could just of course take a wall, edit it into this sort of Dorito shape, and just sort of put it along like this. And that's pretty much all you need to do. You don't actually need those little Dorito walls at all, because, enemies can't of course walk into the Atlas normally. But it can help out a bit with husklings, because if you were to be inside the Atlas, the husklings could of course jump at you and then just land in the Atlas. But that doesn't happen unless you're just, in the Atlas room. And exploders can actually throw their propanes into where the Atlas is. But that normally isn't really a problem, because I normally tend to funnel enemies straight towards the ramps, not diagonally at all. So even though a exploder right here can easily throw a propane just right into Atlas and damage all of those walls, realistically, as long as you just funnel enemies straight towards the ramp instead of diagonally, you should be fine. But you can always put walls, of course, covering the Atlas if you want. But it's not really necessary, I would say. I've never really had problems ever with this build, with scenarios like that at all. Now what we're going to do, we're going to build a few walls, kind of like this. This is just mainly some support for our secondary ceiling. This will help out a lot with lobbers and flingers. But what we're going to want to do is of course upgrade the secondary ceiling. You can make it stone, wood, it is a secondary layer of defense. You could just sort of, choose how strong you want it to be. And what we're going to do, we're going to place these anti-airs down. Anti-airs can of course have building health or heals attached. They cannot have both, surprisingly. Something that I learned. So you'll have to choose either if you want building health or heals attached, because when you run them both they don't work very well for some reason. So keep that in mind with your anti-airs. We're also going to craft a few wall darts as well. And bonus points if you have a second copy that has a different sort of reload time as your main copy. So we're going to be placing down these anti-airs. These will of course counter the lobbers. Now we're going to put down some walls like this, and we're going to stick a wall dart like that. That one has one reload perk. And make sure you have them with different reload perks, so, you know, while one is down, the other one is going to fire. While the other one's down, the other one can fire, you know? So you want that sort of alternating damage. So right here we got our counter for our flingers, and then our anti-airs will counter lobbers. So we got the duo up here. That's a really easy way to just deal with flingers, lobbers alike. And we don't really have to worry about the roof at all, you know? We got made out of stone, we got something to pick off enemies that are on the roof, and something to pick off projectiles, which is great. So we don't have to worry about the roof at all now, which is nice. Now what we're going to do is we're going to build floors kind of like this, in a sort of circle, or I guess technically square. And we're going to do this simple box defense where we have, of course, walls on these corners right here, just to help funnel them in a little bit better to where we want them to go. Now what we're going to do is we're going to expand a bit. We're going to make a sort of 2x3 platform. You can make it out of metal, or wood, or stone, whatever. I would personally say, you know, make it out of stone. But if it's like a nature zone, I would say probably make it out of metal, you know? And we're just going to be doing this all around the objective. And now we're going to be making walls like this. So we're going to, of course, go around the objective and just put these walls. Right here, I might just put a barricade. There's no reason for them to be here, so I might as well just block that off. And now we're just going to make more walls around here. In these corner parts, you could just make a barricade here. That's going to keep them off of that area right there. So they're more likely to, of course, go in towards where we want them to go. So put like a small little barricade like that, just all around. You just need one, of course, per corner. So with all of that built, you're going to want to, of course, upgrade everything. The higher tier everything is, the more health it has, but also, the more health that those walls and barricades have, the more likely enemies will not attack those. So it's very important that you upgrade the walls and especially your barricades on each of your corners. And now that everything is upgraded, you want some 1-4 spikes. Just put basically a sort of line of them, like that, in the front, and you want to do that for all of the sides. The power level for the 1-4 spikes doesn't matter, we're just using it for the swell. So you can basically just craft a bunch of tier 3s, even tier 1s are fine. Power level does not matter. And we're of course just going to be doing this on all of the sides. We are going to now want some floor launchers. I like crafting these at tier 4. Just make sure that they have at least 2 impact and you should be fine. And we're going to be putting them along like this to keep any chrome huskies as well as anything that does tank through the main defense. It's just going to get pushed back into, of course, all of the traps. We're also going to want some tar as well. So make sure you have a high durability copy of tar. We're going to be placing the tar right here. I would actually suggest waiting in the defense until you place tar, because, you know, it's very possible. Because Category 1 is a single player mission, there's no 4-player variants of it unless you're in power level 15s or below. There's no really guaranteed that you'll actually get smashers in this mission. So it could be best, actually no, it should be best to save that tar until you actually do need it. We're also going to be putting some anti-airs in the corners here. So we're going to be needing 6 of them. I like putting 2, kind of like right here. So 1 in that far corner there, 1 in this one, and then 1 per side like that, just so every lane is covered. And there's of course a backup anti-air in case we do need an extra one. We're also going to now craft these wall darts. I like using these ones with triple damage with 1 reload, so it's really consistent overall damage. It's not RNG at all with, you know, the crit builds, so it will be very, very consistent, especially against nurses too. You don't want to, of course, struggle against nurses, because they will just, you know, perma-heal everything, and they will just make basically everything unkillable if you don't have, of course, good, you know, single target damage to, of course, deal with them. So that's why we're, of course, using these wall darts. Just going to, of course, place them around on all of these walls. Kind of like this. We can also shove a few here. As for our main defense, I like using the double crit damage ones. How wall darts work is that they shoot 6 projectiles, and the same enemy can get hit by, you know, multiple different projectiles from the shrap. Which means if a smasher is standing right in the middle of the shrap, it could potentially get hit by 5 or maybe even all 6 of the projectiles and take times 6 damage. That's why it's important to have your reload copy in the front, because you don't want some random smasher to eat all of the projectiles. And you want, of course, high damage in the back. So when something does get to the back, you want it to, of course, eat all of the projectiles and beat out as much damage as possible. So now what we're going to do, we're going to build a 2x3 ceiling for every single lane. We're now going to craft some tire traps. I like using these ones with the double reload with triple durability. And we're going to be basically putting a line of them pretty much above the 1-4 spikes. We're also going to be using some ceiling fields, so I'm going to craft some ceiling fields real quick. I like using these ones right here, double damage, crit rating, with a reload. And then I like having them alternate with this one right here with the double reload, double damage. And right here, we're going to take our double reload, we're going to shove them into corners right here. And then we're going to take our single reload and shove it down the middle. We want the ceiling fields to be alternating so they can pump out as much damage as possible, as consistently as possible too. We're now also going to be putting some ceiling zappers. Ceiling zappers can hit through ramps, so this is of course going to be a great last line of defense in case a bunch of enemies do get here, or, well, a bunch of tanky enemies do get back. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to max out the difficulty, and I will start up this mission in a second. But also, if you forget what the element is, or if the storm is switching, you can actually upgrade the difficulty, believe it or not. Something that I also didn't mention is wall launchers. Make sure you put some sort of physics strap, or strap that has impact, to protect your barricades. You can reset the AI of husks by of course pushing them back, or by staggering them. So by having that wall launcher there, we're more likely to of course not have anything go for the barricades, and to of course just walk straight into the traps. So make sure you put these wall launchers on of course the corners of your objectives. But now, the entire build is pretty much done. Might as well just start up the mission and see how it goes. And also, don't feel afraid to, of course, leave your base to just go farm back some of those resources you spent. It's a very, very good strategy to do in Ventures because, you can make back some of those traps that you spent, and then you can use them for other missions. So don't feel afraid to, of course, do that, especially for a Category 1. Where there might not even be any flingers, smashers, or even sploders. Also, if you really wanted to, because of the fact that there's not very much that normally goes on for Category 1, if you really want to, you could replace that tar with a freeze floor or a floor launcher instead of going tar, because there's not really a guarantee that you get smashers. Category 1, even though it is a mission for Powerful 140 and you could get lots of smashers, it is a single player mission after all. Here we have the boss, he is power level 262, and with the pegwigs we have, he gets demolished. Now mind you, this is a physical mini boss, so my pegwigs are doing their full amount of damage. But still, the fact that he's power level 262 and he's getting wrecked by a weapon that we're getting for free. Just saying. And just like that, that is pretty much Category 1 completed. They did manage to destroy a few walls, but the fact that it took them 8 whole minutes to destroy like 2 to 3 walls is not that impressive in my opinion. But yeah, that's Category 1. That's how you beat Fight the Storm by yourself, solo, highest possible difficulty, without weapons that you could of course find through ventures. Just pegwigs, just cannonballs, and some coconuts here and there. And of course, who could forget the pickaxe? One of the best weapons in the game. If you enjoyed this video, think about liking and subscribing, it helps out the channel a lot. If you have any sort of feedback, or you have any ideas for weapon, hero loadouts, or strap builds in the future, make sure to leave a comment. And make sure to share this video with anyone that likes Save the World. I wouldn't be that surprised if Epic decided to screw over Ventures again, and, you know, made it so you couldn't even play co-op in Ventures at all. This guide could help someone in case that does happen again. But other than that, hope you enjoyed the video, hope you have yourselves a great day, and I guess I'll see you in the next one. So see ya!